This PathPilot Operator Console installation video is not a replacement for the installation guide. Please read through the installation guide for the warnings, cautions, notices, required tools, and any changes that may appear in future revisions. If you plan on installing the ATC before you install your enclosure, you will have to temporarily set up the operator console on the table next to your machine to verify the operation of the ATC. This PathPilot Operator Console is directly installed onto the Tormach enclosure, so the enclosure must be installed before you can proceed. Also, if you have a machine arm installed, you must remove it before installing the operator console. Before you start, and if your machine is on, you must power it off. Push in the emergency stop button on the operator box. From the PathPilot interface, select Exit. Turn the main disconnect switch to off and close the enclosure doors. Remove the right side window by loosening the retainer screws with a hex wrench. Slide the window out and set it aside. You must now remove the operator box. Remove the emergency stop cable from the operator box. Remove the 4 screws that secure the operator box to the machine stand using a 3mm hex wrench. Put the 4 screws from the operator box back onto the machine stand. Print the drill template provided on the last page of the operator console installation guide's PDF. To verify that the template printed at the correct size, use a ruler to measure the scale on the template. Cut out the template along its edges. Align the mount arm's top bracket with the template to verify that the holes line up. If they don't, trace the correct hole pattern on the drill template. Align the drill template to the top of the enclosure and tape it in place. Put a mark in each hole on the drill template using a steel punch. Remove the drill template from the enclosure, then drill into the punch marks using an electric drill and a 15 by 64 inch drill bit. Loosely secure the top of the mount arm to the enclosure with 4 M6 screws, 4 washers, and 4 nuts using an M3 hex wrench. While leveling the mount arm, use the bottom of the mount arm as a template. Drill 1 hole using an electric drill and a 15 by 64 inch drill bit. With an M3 hex wrench, secure an M6 screw, washer, and nut into the hole. Drill the remaining 3 holes for the mount arm's bottom bracket. Secure the remaining M6 screws, washers, and nuts into the remaining holes. Then, retighten the top screws. Open the enclosure door and verify that the mount arm screws don't interfere with the enclosure door jamb. If they do, loosen the screws in the door jamb and slide it towards the back of the machine. Find the provided split collars. If they're connected, remove their bolts using an 8mm hex wrench and separate them. The split collars are matched pairs, so you must keep them together. Find the provided pieces of plastic with adhesive backing. Remove the backing and adhere it to the inside of each split collar. Trim the plastic backing on each of the rings. Do this for all 4 sets of split collars. Remove the operator console out of the shipping bag and place it on the table. Loosely attach 2 of the mount arm brackets to the left side of the controller with 4 M4 screws using a 2.5mm hex wrench. Make sure you mount them in this orientation. Attach the threaded side of the 2 split collars to the mount arm brackets with 4 M6 screws using a 3mm hex wrench. Find the keyboard tray provided. Then attach the remaining mount arm bracket to the left side of the keyboard tray with 2 M4 screws using a 2.5mm hex wrench. Verify that the curved edge is facing away from the keyboard tray. Attach the other threaded split collar with the 2 M6 screws. Find the provided jog pendant bracket. Then attach it to the left side of the controller with 2 M4 screws using a 2.5mm hex wrench. Attach the remaining split collar to the mount arm. This split collar determines the height for the overall console assembly, so we suggest attaching it 16.5 inches from the top of the enclosure and completely tighten it. With the help of an assistant, lift the console and hold it on the right side of the mount arm. Align the bottom split collar in the controller with the split collar on the mount arm. Then, loosely attach the opposite side of both split collars to the mount arm. Find the keyboard tray that you set aside earlier. Then attach it to the bottom of the controller. Loosely attach the opposite side of the split collar to the mounting arm using an 8mm hex wrench. Adjust the height and angle of the console assembly as required. Once you have chosen the best work height and angle, then securely tighten all 4 split collars. Find the provided jog pendant and hang it on its bracket. Find the provided power supply bracket, then attach it to the back of the controller with the Phillips screwdriver and number 1 screws. Attach the Wi-Fi dongle, Ethernet, the jog pendant, which needs to be secured with a screwdriver, then connect the emergency stop extension and secure it with the outer ring. Put the power supply into the rear power supply bracket, then plug it in. Attach the piece of rubber to the bracket on the rear of the keyboard tray. Put the loose end of all the cables from the controller into the corrugated tubing. Push the corrugated tubing into the bracket on the rear of the keyboard tray. Remove the access panel on the machine stand using a 2mm hex wrench. The access panel provided with your kit has a hole for the corrugated tubing. Reattach it with the screws you just removed. Then pull the cord through the access panel and into the stand. Then wedge the corrugated tubing into this hole. Find the existing operator box cable that's pre-installed on the machine, then route it through the rear access hole in the machine stand. Connect the operator box extension cable to the existing operator box cable and onto the tray. Route the loose ends of all the cords through the machine stand towards the rear of the machine. Connect the Ethernet cable to the controller communications port. And connect the power cable to the rear accessory power port. The ATC USB cable is routed from the back of the machine to the front. It's long enough to be attached to the console. If it's not, replace it with the provided USB cable. If you have an EU model of the PathPilot Operator Console, find the provided set of keys and insert it into the lock on the top of the controller. Slide the right side window back into the enclosure, then tighten the screws on the window retainers. Power on the machine and the PathPilot controller. Turn the main disconnect switch to on. If this is a new machine, follow the instructions, choose the appropriate model. Twist out the emergency stop button, then press the reset button on the console. Bring the machine out of reset and reference it. That should be it. Your PathPilot Operator Console should be ready to go. If you need to troubleshoot, the operator manual will have all the necessary instructions to help you out. That sucked! Okay,
I'm going to try and look there.
Okay, ready?
That sucked too.
Let's just use the first one.